So you finish your food, and you pass along via airdrop from your ES phone to Agent Smith's ES phone the life pattern, the DNA sequence, which creates a data connection allowing you to sift for this person. So why don't you go ahead, Primrose, and give me an enlightenment roll. This is an adjustment. It's coincidental, so it will be correspondence 3, though, so that does place the difficulty at 6.
Got it. 1 second here. That is 1 success.
You're having a hard time getting a precise lockdown on the life pattern's current location. You do pin it down to within about 3 square miles of northern Rockford. So whoever it is, they have gone back into the city, and they're somewhere on the north side of town. Unfortunately, either due to interference, due to potentially interference caused by their own ability to alter their life pattern, you're having a real hard time nailing it down more specifically than that.
I'm going to frown slightly at my phone, but looks like you won't need to hike in those hills for much longer. They're on the north side of the city.
Well, I suppose we shouldn't expect them to be staying around here anyways. Can you all smile for me? And I hold up my phone to take a groupie of us by this river on this lovely day.
Seeing as this is my first selfie, I have no idea what to do, so I'm just gonna kind of stand there and stare at the camera.
You see yourself staring back at you.
Personally, I have quite the experience taking professional-looking selfies, so I will obviously strike one of my more imposing-looking poses as well. Readjusting my glasses and looking straight at the camera.
Striking, I say, and I take the photo.
You have preserved this moment in your phone. A memory that perhaps one day you'll look back on fondly. And what is your plan from there?
Well, that sounds good. So we got a location. You think this track will or this trace will become stronger as you get closer to it?
It might be. I'm not sure. It's just I got about a 3-mile block of an area where they could be, but I don't have it down to a fine detail at the moment.
Well, maybe we can figure something out. It was if we get closer.
In the area of the 3 miles, does that include the hospital in any way?
The hospital is kind of at the western border of that region.
Seeing as how the victim is still there at the hospital seems to be at the western border of where I found their potential whereabouts. I'm not sure if they'd be visiting the victim, but they might want to stay close for whatever information they may have.
So if this Jada Price does show up at the hospital, we could more or less set a trap, saying that she may have been afflicted with some manner of blood parasite or something similar that has caused her to irrationally lash out in fits of aggressive behavior.
You think Jada is the MURD?
There's always the potential. You never know. There could be pretty much anybody, but it seems like it's someone they know. If they seemed so panicked by what you were able to feel.
And considering the location of the attack, I would assume that Kristen was invited over. Did we find any tracks of conflict before that? Was Kristen dragged here, or did she arrive to this meeting spot willingly?
Suppose that could be questions for her if she is in a state to answer them.
That could certainly be a possibility anyway. I do have a few tricks up my sleeve that could enhance or hasten the healing process for Kristen if we want to investigate and interrogate her.
Well, that sounds good to me. I wonder if then the conflict in between them had something to do with the locket, perhaps. Some kind of confrontation about one's past.
It could certainly be that. Jealousy is often a motivator for lashing out, for aggressive behavior.
I start backtracking and look over my shoulder at the two of you. We're going back to the car then?
Back to Biscuit.
Back to Biscuit it is, yes, indeed.
I almost smile again.
You return to the vehicle, place your ES phone in. Car starts up, says, do you have a destination in mind, Agent?
I look over to Primrose.
Rockford Hospital?
Arrival projected in 17 minutes. Activates the GPS. Would you care for any music?
Please no bossa nova.
I'm about to start saying something and I hear that from the back seat. Go ahead, choose your music.
Very well. I take out my own phone and essentially input or transfer a playlist of my own to the car's speaker system. And it is some retro wave, 80s keyboard synth music through a lens of modern interpretation. Relaxing and invigorating.
Agent Johnson, someone is trying to override the DPTM protocol.
I take a look at the screen as I see the incoming signal and what kind of playlist it is. And as soon as I see it, I say, well, bossa nova it is.
Mitch Murder is one of the best artists of our time. I would very much appreciate if we could listen to something besides bossa nova. But it is you who are driving, so I assume it would be your call.
Classic rock.
I'm fine with that.
I pull out of the place and I say, you can cue classic rock after this song.
Excellent. Next in queue, AC/DC.
Yes.
Classic.
You get through a jaunty tune of bossa nova as you enter the town, and just as you get to the city limits, Back in Black starts playing. Because what else would play in a black suit's black car?
Of course.
You make your way to the hospital. When you arrive, it's a relatively large hospital. It's ranked like third in the state for cardiovascular treatment. So there's med flights come here from all around the collar is what they call it, sort of the state line area. Northern Illinois, southern Wisconsin. If you're too far south to be med flighted to Madison or too far north to go to Chicago, this is where you come. So it's large, modern, well-kept hospital. There's a reception desk at the very front when you walk in, as well as kind of like a map, a You Are Here map, a gift shop. There's a Starbucks. What would you like to do?
Is it possible for me to keep the aura reading up while we go through here to look for anomalies?
Yeah, absolutely. So the way that if you're maintaining a sensory effect, you can generally just maintain a number of those equal to your wits score without it being a problem.
So I'm going to pull my glasses over my eyes, and I'm going to then activate the kind of HUD display I have for the aura reading.
Go ahead and give me an enlightenment roll, difficulty 5.
That is 3 successes.
Beautiful. All right. Yeah, so you're actively sort of scanning everyone in your immediate vicinity as you're walking through. Any other effects anyone likes to turn on?
Not really an effect, but I am desperate for something nice to drink, so I will take this opportunity to just go by Starbucks and get myself a chai latte with soy milk. Grande, of course. Does anyone else want something?
Surprise me?
Just coffee.
Just coffee, of course, from Starbucks. Great. And Primrose, Agent Smith, sorry, I will surprise you. So she's getting a chai latte as well.
I've never been there before, so I've no idea what Starbucks is, aside from a I guess, monopoly on coffee in the area?
Are you saying this out loud, or is this just a reflection?
I'm going to say that out loud when you ask me originally. So surprise me.
A moment of incredulous surprise goes across my face, and then I'm thinking, oh, yes, of course. Well, you're certainly in for quite a surprise. I would assume then that this is, compared to what you had before, something like sleeping on a bunk bed your entire life and then sleeping in a first-rate hotel. So I will be right back.
I'm thinking if there's anything I can do to make such a life form that we are on the lookout for feel more comfortable with my aura or whatever, if they see me, to somehow make me feel more relatable.
Sure. You've been trained as a black suit. You're trained how to manage a number of factors to sort of project whatever type of image you want. A lot of people think of black suit training as only being about intimidating people, but that's just patently false. You're trained how to remove your glasses, loosen your tie, stand at such an angle, and put your hands in your pocket in such a way that you just project an aura of relaxation, of approachability. All of these things can be achieved with mind procedures.
Yeah, I'd like to do a mind procedure then where I exude an aura of familiarity.
Okay, excellent. So this is going to be an adjustment. It's going to be coincidental, and that will be a Mind 2 effect. And so you'll make a Enlightenment roll at difficulty 5.
All right. 2 successes.
So this will effectively reduce the difficulty of any social roll that you need to make, where your aim is to comfort or to persuade or to calm someone down. That will be reduced by 2.
Then let's go to the front desk and ask for our patient.
You step up to the front desk about the time that Angela returns with the coffees.
Here you go. 1 black coffee, 7 calories, and 1 soy latte, chai latte, 240 calories.
I take it and take a giant gulp.
You register the heat of it. You do feel like the kick, almost like a weight hitting the inside of your stomach when it gets there, of all of that going down so fast.
The important question, though, is it delicious?
It's insanely sweet.
It is extremely sweet.
I very much like this. Thank you.
Don't mention it.
And the woman sitting at the front counter says, you said, who is it? I'm sorry, you're here to see?
We're here to see Christy Davis. She was a victim of a bear attack recently, and we want to make sure that she's all right and see if she has anything else to tell us.
Okay, looks like she's in post-CCU recovery room. That's going to be up on 4. And when you get up there, you're just going to need to talk to the nurses station because they regulate visitors there. Yep, elevator's right down there. Do you need an escort?
We'll find our way. Thank you. And I nod to the 2 others, sip my coffee, and start moving.
Yeah, you walk up to the elevator. There's you basically go past the gift shop, and there's a bank of 6 elevators that are across from what appears to be from an area that's marked surgical waiting room. And there's you see probably about 30 people or so, about half of the capacity of the room, sitting at various love seats, couches, chairs, watching, game shows on television, looking at magazines, sort of drinking the coffee that's provided in those rooms.
Oh, these poor people.
Are any of the auras sort of sparkling or stand out?
Not at all. You're seeing a lot of concern. You're seeing a lot of agitation. You're seeing a couple people. One particular just is very, very bright red as they're trying to get their 4-year-old to sit down and just play with the coloring book that is in front of them. But yeah, it's all kind of the emotional content you would expect in a room full of people who are waiting to hear about their loved ones who are being, operated on. And the elevator dings. You all step on, I assume?
Oh, yeah.
Head up to 4. As soon as you step out on the 4th floor, you immediately come to a nurse's station that is behind glass. The glass itself is thick and is wire reinforced. And you see that on either side are doors that are mechanically locked. And the nurse leans forward and says, can I help you?
Yes, good afternoon. We are here to see Christy Davies with regards to the bear attack she came upon her. Is she in a responsive state at this time?
She is. Are you with, who are you with? Are you family?
Yes, we're family.
Okay, do you have a name I can give her?
Having done my research on the family and the distant relatives as well of Christy Davies, I try to pull out the closest cousin that I could come to impersonate.
Go ahead and give me let's do a manipulation and subterfuge roll. Your difficulty is going to be 4.
I'd like to use the willpower at this stage.
You may do so.
Well, I get 3 successes. 3 7s.
Excellent. So that brings you to a total of 4 successes. So she says, yep, I believe you're on the list. I'll go ahead and buzz you in. She hits the button and the door, as you're facing her, the door to your right buzzes.
Thank you very much. I nod to the others, looking quite concerned, and I head on in.
Follow after.
She shouts down, it's 418 on your left.
Thank you very much. 418.
As soon as the door closes behind you, you hear it sort of magnetically lock again. In this ward, you can see a lot of activity, nurses moving back and forth between rooms, checking on people. It is early afternoon, so there's not a lot of visitors. You can hear like 1 or 2 conversations happening, but you make your way back to her room. The door is cracked open. The light is on in the room, and you can hear a television, as well as some 2 voices in conversation.
I listen a little bit before I open the door.
They seem to be talking about, I heard on YouTube that Ellen is a real pain in the ass. Like, yeah, I was watching, she had some beauty tuber. Which beauty tuber was that on? I don't remember, but she said she was real cold to her when she was on. They're just gossiping.
Yeah, so I open the door and I come in. It sounds like a casual enough conversation to interrupt.
Absolutely. You get in, and the woman sitting next to her. So there's a chair. You walk in. To your immediate right is the bathroom. Directly in front of you is a hospital bed. It's propped up right now so that she can sit up. You can see that there's an IV bag, regulator for that. There's a number of monitors that she's hooked up to, kind of your standard array of monitors. On the far side of the bed is like a single chair that pulls out into like a almost like a bed. But it is currently up in an upright position. And so sitting in that chair is a woman that I believe you looked up and saw pictures of Jada. So you recognize her as Jada. She's wearing like a t-shirt, a sweater, jeans. Her hair is unkempt and her makeup is not done. So it looks like she's probably been kind of dashing home to shower type of situation, but been kind of here in the hospital for the most part. Kristen, for what she's been through, doesn't look too bad. The bed is sitting up. She is not leaned forward beyond what the bed is. It's just propped up to allow her to lay back comfortably but still be kind of upright. She is obviously bandaged on her legs. The blanket is sort of over one leg at the moment, definitely exposing the bandages on the other leg.
Mm-hmm.
She is wearing a hospital gown, which is covering most of where you would assume her injuries are. And based on her eyes and Agent Primrose, from what you can see, her aura, she's not feeling a whole lot of pain. Looks like they have her on, you're assuming, some fairly strong pain medication. She seems like euphoric, relaxed, basically on the verge of sleep, and she is holding hands with Jada.
So, Jada, what would her aura be?
You definitely see notes of concern, a bit of exhaustion, but the primary sort of component of her aura appears to be relief. And now as you're entering, there's a little bit more concern creeping in.
I go up, and is there a place for me to sit down?
Yeah, there's one additional chair you could sort of pull up that's on the doorway side of the room.
I take the chair and I gesture to my colleagues and I say, "Good afternoon. Me and my colleagues here are terribly sorry to interrupt at this time. We're investigating the particular case of the bear attack."
Kristen says, "Oh, it's fine. I'm not going anywhere, as you can see, not for a few days anyway."
You sitting tight in there?
Yeah, they say everything is back where it's supposed to be, so I guess I should count myself lucky.
I'm glad to hear that.
Jada kind of rolls her eyes and shakes her head. Says, "You'll have to forgive her. She's a lot medicated at the moment."
Oh, it's quite natural.
What can we do for you?
I'm Devin Johnson. These are my colleagues here. Angela, Primrose.
Dr. Angela Barros. Thank you.
I nod at her.
Oh, doctor, yeah, is there something wrong?
Well, I wouldn't say that, but we are doing some groundwork investigation into both the attack as well as any potential risks of contamination. Are you aware that there is a disease amongst the animals of the Rock Cut State Park, and that we are worried it might have been transmitted to you as well, considering the attack?
No, nobody said anything to. I mean, they checked. They treated her for rabies.
Oh.
But she said, "I got 12 shots in my stomach, but that was not the bad part. I had wounds from a bear at the time, so that didn't seem so bad, really, when you think about it."
Well, you're certainly not displaying most of the symptoms we would have imagined would have manifested by now, so I'm not really concerned, but with your permission, we would like to take some blood samples to ensure that neither of you have been afflicted by this condition.
Sure thing. I think they got one of these is for blood. She holds her hands up and is looking at her IV. Yeah, I think that's the one you get the blood from. She points at one of the ports on the IV.
I'm quite familiar with medical equipment, thank you very much. And I proceed to take a blood sample both from Miss Davis, but also, if Jada Price allows me to, from her as well.
Yeah, she says, "Oh, of course." And she says, "Does it matter what arm?"
No, not really.
She just throws her sweatshirt kind of off of her right arm and presents it. Yeah, that's fine.
Yes, I will essentially just be doing a test to see if there are any signs of either of these people having, strange biological anomalies or enlightenment, any of the usual tests that I would be running on a potential MURD or RD anyway. Is that a life test?
Yeah, so that would be an enlightenment check, and you're just using the life 1 adjustment, so it's going to be difficulty 4.
Gotcha. That is 2 successes.
Excellent. It's going to take you a moment to get your results, and while you're waiting for those results to ding, Devin, what would you like to say?
I see that Primrose has already finished her cup while I'm still holding my quite hot cup of coffee. I shake my head in a affectionate way, and I remove my glasses and I look at Jada, as Angela is taking her blood. Are you two related?
No, just dating.
Oh, lovely. You didn't happen to be near the incident when it happened, did you?
Oh, yeah, I was probably a few feet away, really. I mean, I was inside the cabin. She had gone out. She was going to go over and get some wood. And I heard her scream, and I ran out, and yeah,
I'm sorry. I understand this must have been a traumatic experience. Did she seem upset?
Are you just doing like a basic sort of empathy, or are you using any enlightenment to try to figure out what her mental state is?
I think I might be using enlightened procedures.
Okay, yeah. I mean, you're certainly trained in watching, for tells, watching for, for jaws clenching, where her eyes are looking while she's talking, that sort of thing. That's certainly enough to go ahead and give me an enlightenment roll at target number 4.
That's 2 successes, 1 10.
You absolutely get the feeling that she's upset by what she's relaying and confused by what she's relaying.
Yeah.
She says, I mean, it had to be a bear, just like this skinny looking, fucked up looking bear. I don't know. It was weird.
Weird how?
I don't know. Like maybe it had mange, or it was. You know what it looked like? Honestly, was a bear that was like malnourished or something.
Yeah.
It was all skinny, but its belly was distended. I don't know. It was terrifying.
I understand. Yes, we have been searching through the park just before coming here to see if any traces of said animal, and the bear tracks did show some signs of things not being completely as they should. So anything you can give us at this point is very, very helpful.
Kristen says, yeah, I mean, I didn't really get much of a look at it. It just happened so fast. Your machine dings, Angela, indicates they're both perfectly healthy, normal humans. Kristen has markers that indicate a potential for developing Marfan syndrome, but it doesn't seem to have manifested based on looking at her. And there's like a 0.6% chance that if Jada has children, that they will have Down syndrome. That's the only abnormalities you found.
I will exercise caution at this moment and not inform them of these risks. I feel like I am not in a position where that would turn out in our favor, so to speak. So for once, I actually I caution myself and instead simply nod and say, well, luckily neither of you are showing any symptoms or signs of an infection, which is fortunate. So I would like to hear a little bit more about this emaciated bear that you mentioned.
Kristen says, what's weird is I'm laying there bleeding, and when the shock wore off, I swear I saw a face, like it flashed through my mind almost. This guy, Taylor Price. And you see Jada sort of like scrunch up her face like she's grossed out.
Mm-hmm.
She says, yeah, we went to high school with this guy, and about, 20 minutes maybe earlier, I had been outside. I was getting drinks, some beers out of the car. And he walked up to me just kind of out of nowhere and like tries to pick me up, and he's walking around barefoot, and he's just like a weirdo, you know. And he says that he's having a get together at Aldine tonight.
Aldine.
Yeah, and tonight. Yeah, we've been here for like 4 days, right? Yeah, so tonight, and he invited me to go, and I just sort of like looked at him like he'd grown a second head, because I didn't even talk to this kid in school, let alone since school. And he just flipped out, and I like was just being an asshole, so I just snatched my beer up and walked back into the cabin. But I thought about that as I was laying there bleeding too. Like, I don't know.
Price, did you say? You're not related? I look over at Jada, not realizing that she hasn't told me her name.
Well, not in any way that I'm aware of. Like, might be distant cousins, maybe.
Taylor Price. Well, that's odd. Did you lose anything else at the site that you might have been carrying on you?
Kristen sort of like looks around for a second, and then her eyes go wide, and she puts her hand up to her chest, and she goes, my stuff, did they get my necklace? And Jada gets up and like opens the drawers where her clothes are, and starts looking through it and goes, I don't see it in here.
I look at Primrose and Angela to see if they will give me a nod, or rather shake of the head.
I'll nod in Devon's direction regarding the... I'm guessing regarding the amulet, right? Or the locket?
Yeah, you can see me holding something in my hand, in my pocket.
Well, there's just a shrug from me. I don't see why keeping it from her would be the option to go with. The theory I had, well, obviously I can convey that, but the theory I had has already been disproven, so the locket doesn't really matter for me.
Yeah. I take it in, and as they are rummaging, I take my hand out and I say, I assume it's this one that you're looking for.
She reaches out for it. Oh, yes, thank you. And you see Jada, like, sigh with relief. And she sits back down and says, oh, and, like, takes Kristen's hand again. And Kristen takes the locket and says, sorry, it was an ex-girlfriend of mine gave this to me, and she died.
I'm glad we could return it to you.
I appreciate it, thank you.
Something bad happened?
Car accident. She got hit by a drunk.
A drunk? Did they find out who?
Yeah, and you know, he sat a few months. He was rich white guy, so he sat a few months and paid a few fines, and he's already back out.
Yeah, you can see my mouth is making a bit of a grimace a bit, this description.
I'm sure he will eventually get what's coming for him.
Just thank you. I mean, you know, it's funny. I wish I could care that he got busted and that he went to jail, but you know, doesn't bring Sarah back.
No. Was it long ago?
It's 3 years now. Jada nods, yeah. It was right after graduation.
Your mutual friends? Or mutual...
We all went to school together.
Yeah.
So this person that gave you issues, this Taylor Price, you had any other complications with him in the past?
No. I mean, no. Said he was always kind of weird. We knew him in school, but I don't remember if I ever spoke to him And
Did he know Serena?
Sarah?
Sarah.
Not that I know of. And Jada says, I don't know if he did, but I mean, he was, I remember, like, I had a gym class with him, and he was always trying to, like, get me and the other girls in the class to go smoke weed with him behind the bleachers.
Did he exude any other different, strange kind of behaviors? Sorry we're asking these questions. It's just that there might be a strange connection here.
No, he just kind of acted like a pothead.
Aldine, you said.
Yeah, Aldine, it's one of the parks. It's over on Alpine.
Good. Thank you. I look over to the others. Anything else?
I produce one of my business cards. It's in an eggshell white, fairly clean, modern looking. Not a lot of information on it, just my contact information, and I give it to Jada. And if you think of anything else, do feel free to contact me. And Miss Davis, I would like to speak with you when you have the time and if you have the interest. I have a personal interest in stories such as yours, and I'm a clinical doctor, and there might be some ways for me to help you with your rehabilitation.
Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah,
Of course.
I'll do that once I'm, less high.
Yes, the unwelcome yet still enjoyable pleasure of anesthetics.
She puts a thumb up.
I release my alteration of my aura as I am about to leave. I hold my glasses in one hand and I look at her. Is there a way I could see through her eyes, or let's see, through Jada's eyes, as to re-experience the memory, sort of reconstruct it, of her seeing this weird-looking bear?
That would be more of a mind 3 situation, because you'd be probing.
I use my phone, which has recorded the conversation and her talking about this, and try to use that to project through her, as she is in front of me now, what she was seeing.
Cool. That is going to be a vulgar procedure, but it is not witnessed unless you fail the roll. So effectively, if you fail the roll, she'll feel something entering her mind, at which point paradox starts mounting in a big bad way.
Yeah.
The way that would work is you would automatically assume 1 point of paradox for casting it, and then you would roll your enlightenment, and it's going to be difficulty 7. You can, or no, I'm sorry, mind 3, difficulty 7. You can, if you have any primal energy in your pattern, and you have at least, and you have any dots in genius, you can spend primal energy up to your genius to a maximum of 3 points to reduce the difficulty on the effect.
I get 2 successes.
You are able to peer through the memory and bring that forward. And as you do, you see displayed on your phone almost as if she were wearing like a body cam, right? You see her inside of a cabin. She is drinking a delirium tremens out of the bottle and seasoning some, looks like maybe hot dogs or brats, when she hears a scream. And she turns around and first looks out the window for just a half a second, as she sees this form sort of undulating from the... she can only see the top of it through the bottom of the window in the kitchen of this cabin. This hairy form barely registers, and she whips around and runs out the front door screaming. And as she rounds the corner, this form sort of pops up and turns like a 180 once it looks up, once it like gets up to a standing position. Just immediately 180s, drops to all fours and starts loping away. It's all moving by pretty fast. She didn't see a whole lot of detail on it, but the physical description she gave you was pretty spot on. It does look like, in fact, like an emaciated bear with mangy, like patchy hair, and definitely kind of a distended stomach.
Interesting. And it does run on all fours.
Well, it seemed to stand up on hind legs and take really like a bipedal posture before it turned. And everything is, as you're moving through the memory, it really looks as though the vision is blurred. Knowing what you know about minds, you might be able to poke around in that vision a little bit harder, but you're going to, if to do so would possibly risk additional paradox and possibly risk her noticing.
Can I save that for a later procedure?
You can, yeah.
Yeah.
You will need to have her present, or use either correspondence or time if she's not there.
Okay. Well, I'll take what I have for now. It looks basically as if I'm going over some notes on my phone as I'm rising up and viewing this. And then I nod and I send it out to my two fellows, my two colleagues in the room, and say, thank you very much. Sorry for taking your time, and good health. Get back on your feet.
Thank you very much. Be safe.
I actually can't stop myself because it's been gnawing at the back of my head, and I put on a smile as politely and as natural as I can, and I look at Jada Price and I ask, I'm really sorry if this is a very personal question, but I'm curious, are the two of you or either of you ever planning to have children?
Maybe someday.
Excellent. I happen to have an investment in a fertility clinic where I do some work, and I would really like to, if you ever consider it, then please get in touch with me, because I believe that I will be able to help you in that process. You can see that Angela's very flustered when she's talking.
Okay.
Yes. So, thank you.
I look back and I say, she's the best at what she does. And then I go out.
Thanks. She waves and they go back to watching their game show as you walk out of the hospital. So you step out to the hallway. Where are you going from there?
Now that I have a name, would it be possible with the correspondence 3 that I have in order to get a view of the aura of this Taylor Price?
So you want to try to get a view of their aura on top of...
It's from a distance. I'm not sure what kind of connection I need in order to use correspondence 3 to kind of pin them down, just to get a better idea to see if they're our guy.
So you can use, yes, you can use your mind procedure through that. That's going to get into the vulgar without witnesses territory. You're welcome to do so.
I would actually recommend, since of course we know the name of this individual, it would be a possibility to perhaps look up his if he has a smartphone, for example, if he has any kind of registration with that, and maybe you will be able, Primrose, to trace him through his GPS. That might work, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, all of that will... so the Correspondence 3, the tracking him part, pretty much coincidental at this point, right? Because you can track the GPS on his phone. You have about 9 ways to make that coincidental. It was already coincidental with just using the life to search. At this point, though, when you start getting into, like, I'm going to try to read a mental state across this thing, that just goes into the realm of science fiction.
What if I tap into the camera on his phone? Each camera has a front-facing camera if he's looking at it. I
mean, yes, that will be a way to justify it as an effect, but at the end of the day, you're pushing reality a little further than reality is willing to accept by reading his mind through that connection. If that makes sense?
I would like to attempt this. As we're walking out of the hospital, I'm going to be on my phone looking for him. Again,
you may use any primal energy quintessence that you might have up to your genius with a maximum of 3 to reduce the difficulty if you so choose.
Am I able to use a point of quintessence as well as a point of willpower in the same turn?
Yeah, absolutely.
Then I would like to do so. So I will put my quintessence down to 1 and use a point of willpower for this.
Excellent. So it'll be Enlightenment, difficulty 6.
Okay. That is 2 successes, so that's 3 successes in total.
You gain 1 point of paradox as your phone starts to like fritz and sizzle a little bit, but make sizzling noises for a moment before it clarifies into a signal. You're going to need to choose to divide those successes between specificity of his location and specificity of his aura.
Seeing as how we know where he's going to end up tonight at the Aldine Park on Alpine, I'm going to do 1 into the correspondence and 2 into the aura, the mind.
You narrow down his location much further to about a half-mile wide strip that runs through north central Rockford, almost bisected by Illinois Highway 251, which is kind of the central highway that passes through the city. So he's somewhere on the north side within about a mile of 251. As far as his aura, I'm going to go ahead and let you give me 2 questions that you want to know from his aura, and I will give you those answers.
What is the texture and the primary color?
His texture is sparkling. His primary color is orange.
Orange, okay.
Do you want me to hold that for you? I see you're still holding on to your empty cup while you're very engaged in your search.
Yes, please. I hold it up in your general direction. I'm assuming we're going to leave the hospital now, right?
Yeah. We're getting into the elevator.
As soon as you grab the cup from her hand, stepping onto the elevator, when you do grab the cup from her hand, you may reduce your paradox pool by 1, and you feel a tingle as as your skin touches one another, and the bottom breaks out of the coffee cup, spilling a full chai latte onto the floor. The nurse kind of looks over the top of the nurse's station as the elevator doors are closing.
I look a bit completely taken by surprise, as I thought this was empty. Didn't you finish this?
Thought I did. It was delicious.
Well.
Well, that's an interesting effect that just happened.
Yeah, that's very interesting. What are you looking up anyway? Then I'm trying to step away from the pool that just made on the floor.
Probably something we should discuss when we're back with Biscuit.
Good.
I produce a small handkerchief-like item out of my purse, and I I bend down to wipe it up, and this is a super absorbative material that I've been working with, so I don't really want to trouble the hotel staff who are already overworked with this. I start wiping it up and
as you crouch down to wipe it up, like you produce the cloth, you're looking up and saying, I don't want to trouble them, and you look back down to wipe it up and it's dry.
Interesting. I suppose we just suffered some manner of mass hallucination. Well then, shall we get going?
Yeah. Did you look at the video? I say as we step out of the elevator.
I haven't gotten the chance to yet.
Yeah, I just shared with you part of her memory.
Huh, interesting. I wasn't aware that the black suits had access to that level of technology, but I will not question it. It's I start looking at the video and grimacing while watching it. Huh. Interesting.
Well, it's not running on 2 legs. It's got that going for it.
I'm tapping the side of my phone. Has it stopped making the sizzling noises as I'm just like panicked thinking I broke it?
Oh yeah, no, it was only for a brief moment when you started.
Okay. Alright. Relief.
I throw the paper cup away. It's Angela's starting to get into her things, and Primrose is still investigating her stuff and start heading out towards the car.
When you throw the paper cup away, you hear like a sploosh sound as if you'd just thrown away a full coffee.
I wince a little. Is this something that they would have talked about at our training? This kind of thing?
Yeah, you've absolutely been briefed on the various manifestations of paradox.
Yeah. Am I aware then that I'm taking things a bit far, perhaps?
You're definitely aware that there has been that you have either you or Primrose or whoever made that coffee has kicked off a paradox effect.
Yeah. Well, we're almost there. Maybe. Well, I mumble a bit to myself.
Is that tea now never ending? I look back at it just kind of curious.
I wouldn't trust to drink it. Any more that you have. You liked it? I try to shake it off and go back to my normal curious self of your experiences.
It was really good, really, really sweet. I could get used to that.
You shouldn't get too used to sweet things. I mean, it's not. Ah, here we are, yeah.
I, meanwhile, swear by it, so if you want to have any more of it, just let me know.
I open the car and get in.
Speaking of, we should probably talk with the, let's see here, with the manager about maybe having a Starbucks affiliate opening up in the construct. That would certainly make things more enjoyable, considering the kind of quality of coffee that they're offering there.
And normally it's the instant stuff.
I think their coffee's just fine. I say, slightly strained still, and I put on a up-tempo bossa nova track. Where have you? What did you want to discuss, Primrose? I start driving without having a direction.
This Taylor Price is our guy. As far as I can tell, he's I don't know how to describe it. He's very fearful at the moment, and his aura is sparkling. It's more magical, I guess you could call it. I did narrow down the area where he is currently, the north side, about a mile from 251. I was only able to get about a half-mile reading from it. But we know at least where he's going to be tonight.
Biscuit, can you give me any known affiliations or run-ins with a Taylor Price that we know of?
Sure. Searching. Go ahead and give me an intelligence computer roll, if you don't mind.
No, I don't get any successes. If it's 6, right?
Target number is 6.
Yeah. No successes.
Query blocked.
Huh. Curious.
Would you mind if I give it a try?
Please, knock yourself out.
Absolutely. You'd be surprised how poorly people manage their social media accounts. I will attempt to read his Facebook log and see if we can find anything in there. So, if it's all right with the Storyteller, I would like to roll as well.
Are you specifically only checking social media accounts, or are you also cross-referencing the Technocracy database?
Yeah, I'm trying to cross-reference and see if there are any affiliates to him via, for example, Twitter or Facebook that we have in our database.
You may do so, but your target number is now 7.
That is fine. I will roll and hope for the best. So that is... Actually, that's 4 successes.
Excellent. You get a readout, or a response, query blocked.
Oh.
Associations tied to this identity are beyond your security clearance, Agent.
That is interesting.
I see. Maybe we should report back then, if this name is already known to the Technocracy.
How much time do we have before the allotted time at the get-together at Aldine Park? Would we have time to go back?
It's early afternoon right now. All you know is the party is tonight. You've got probably 4 hours till sunset, and you're 10 minutes away from headquarters if you wanted to stop. Or you can call Kavanaugh, that's fine too.
I look between the two.
Seeing if someone with higher clearance would be able to gather information regarding this person would probably be our best bet, so giving him a call would be the most prudent idea at this point.
I agree.
Sure. Do you want to handle it, Primrose?
I could attempt to, yeah. Biscuit, can you please call Construct Manager Kavanaugh Albright?
Dialing. Manager Albright's office, how may I direct your call?
Yes, this is Primrose Smith. I was in there earlier speaking with the Construct Manager.
I'm certain you were. What can I do for you?
Could I speak to Mr. Albright, please?
Manager Albright is in a meeting at the moment. Do you want me to call you back?
When will he be out?
Probably when he's done. Do you want me to call you back, Agent? Or if you'd like, I can slot you into his next opening if you're going to come back to headquarters.
No, just have him give me a call back, please, at this number.
Okay. Thank you very much for calling.
After she hangs up, my face flushes with total embarrassment.
Well, alright. Anything else we can do in the meantime?
I believe we should proceed to the location.
Yeah. Oh, don't worry, you did well, Primrose. That was a good phone call.
I'm sulking. Very, very subtly sulking.
You get about 3/4 of the way to Aldine Park, driving through. You basically have to drive through town to get there. And as you're driving through the Rockford roads, the car is doing its level best to compensate for the perpetual state of potholes and cracks in the cement. It is a bit of a challenge. You're still feeling a bit shook up by driving on these roads. And the phone rings. You're probably, by your reckoning, probably about 10 minutes outside of Aldine.
Can we see who it is?
Yeah, it just says manager.
Look at that. Here's your call now.
I'll pick it up, and it's still gonna go through the car speakers, I assume. Okay.
Aiden Smith, you called?
Yes, sir. We have some information, or at least lack of, but we need to find more information on a Taylor Price for this investigation.
Taylor Price, you said, huh?
Yes, sir.
Ain't that interesting.
Someone you know, sir?
Yeah. Sorta. Hey, he is a person of interest in the investigation.
Seems he was present on the day of the attack to the victim, Kristen Davis.
Was he now?
And apparently an old acquaintance. A weird one.
Well, that sure is good to know. Tell you what, why don't you... Where are you at now?
We're getting close to the park where he stated he would be to the victim, Aldine Park.
Aldine Park's, wide open, public place. I don't necessarily like the idea of you engaging him there. Why don't you come on back to HQ? Let's have a sit down about this. Figure out what we're gonna do.
Is your schedule open, sir?
It is now.
If you don't mind, we are field agents operating right now. If there is anything we need to know about this individual, it would be prudent for you to release this information to us.
I appreciate your interest in procedure, Doctor. It's a conversation I'd rather have in person.
I start turning the car around.
We're on our way. We'll be there shortly.
Thank you much.
That was interesting. That went better, though.
Yeah, if it's someone already known, then that's better than us rushing into the unknown. Right? Are you disappointed?
I think it's unprofessional.
That he wants to sit down?
To speak frankly. Yes, I do believe it's unprofessional that he wants to sit down. We are capable of apprehending this individual. We're minutes away from him, and he wants to have a sit down about it.
Well, there's no telling that he's actually there during the day. It seemed like they were going to have an evening meetup.
I would rather know more information regarding the person we are targeting than go in blind. Having a plan is always the best choice.
Of course.
The agents sit in the front seat and nod together.
Yeah, whatever you say, agents. You're the professionals.
You arrive back at the headquarters. Same security guard sitting out there reading the same paper. Nods at you as you walk up.
I nod back.
Are we able to just walk right past him?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Slow reader, I see. I follow after the agents.
As soon as you get on the elevator, you hit 3 to go up to Kavanaugh's office. Elevator stops on 2, and a woman steps in. And she says, Agent Smith, Agent Johnson, Dr. Barros?
Do I know this one?
You don't. You've never met her.
Pleasure to meet you. I hold out my hand.
She shakes your hand. Ms. Davenport. And she reaches over and hits the button to 3 and then the basement button. And the elevator starts going down. And she says, yes, I'm a research associate here. Wanted to run a quick debrief on you all before we go up to talk to Kavanaugh, if you don't mind.
Oh?
I think he's waiting for us now, but...
He can wait.
I feel a bit nervous, knowing what I might have conjured during my efforts so far. But I try to tell myself that it was justified.
We have our orders and the person we need to report to. And unfortunately, at the moment, you are not on the list. I'm going to stare at her dead in the eyes.
Okay. She smirks. Says, you wear that black suit very well.
I should. It was made for me.
Got a feeling you were made for it.
I lower my eyes, like squint at her.
She says, I assure you this is a standard operating procedure. I just need to run a quick debrief on your experiences, record your responses, make sure we have all that information so that we can properly address the concerns that you're bringing up.
You have listened to an episode of Red Moon Roleplaying, where we played the Chronicle Welcome to the Rock for Mage the Ascension 20th Anniversary Edition and the Technocracy Reloaded supplement. Our storyteller was Travis Legge from Onyx Path Publishing, and we were also joined by the Primogen and Nikita Cake from Devil's Luck Gaming. The music was created by Proto-U and was used with permission from their label, Cryochamber. Visit cryochamber.bandcamp.com or their YouTube channel for more futuristic drone. We would like to give massive thanks to our champions of the Red Moon, Martin Heuschober, Nastasia Raulerson, Simon Cooper, David and Julia for their generous support, and we would of course also like to thank all of our other patrons. Without your support, the show would not be possible. If you want to support our work, please check us out on Patreon. You can get access to bonus campaigns for Cult of Divinity Lost and Coriolis there, as well as get early and raw access to all of our recordings. You can also hear your name read on the show as a champion of the Red Moon, as well as play Cult with us. Most importantly, that support is what keeps the show going, so do check us out there. Thank you for listening, and see you soon again.